Hey there, my name's Nick. I'm the Mystic Next Door, and today I want to share with you how I stopped criticizing myself in just a few weeks with a very simple exercise. Little background first. As long as I can remember, I have struggled with self criticism and insecurity in some form or another. Like when I was really young, how that showed up was me trying to keep up with my older brother and sister, who were both really smart and really quick and really accomplished. Then later, I became a musician. And I basically took that self criticism and weaponized it into a really strong work ethic, which brought me some success in that world, but it also sucked the joy out of the thing that I love to do. And it led to many cycles of burnout, just pushing myself too hard, trying too hard, efforting, and working myself to the point of burning out. Then I became an entrepreneur. I wanted to start my own business as a healer and coach, which is what I do today. And I used that same self-criticism, like it sabotaged so many of my creative ideas and my projects, because I would doubt myself every step of the way, right? Is it the right thing? Is it the wrong thing? Am I going to lose money? And how that showed up was kind of feeling like I'm always getting ready for a breakthrough that just never happens. And watching opportunities pass me by, watching my business really struggle as a result of doubting myself and not taking action. Now, I had been studying, at that point in my life, I'd been studying personal development for over 20 years, like well over 20 years, taking tons of trainings and certifications and seminars, you name it, worked with, all kinds of different people. And what I knew from that work was that somewhere in me was the challenge, right? Something in me needed to change. Like, this is not something outside of myself, it's something inside that I need to heal. But I just didn't really know how to do it. And the more that I tried, like the more that I efforted, like the more I just became dug in, until one day I just sat down with myself and I realized, really honestly, that if I talked to my friends or my family, or God forbid, my clients, the way that I talk to myself, like, they wouldn't be my friends. My family probably wouldn't want to have anything to do with me, and my clients would very likely not want to work with me anymore. So I realized that it was in the conversation that I was having with myself, and recognizing that, I was ready, like really ready to change this. And so I sat down and I just decided, I'm going to treat myself with absolute respect from here on out. It was a really powerful decision, but I knew something first needed to change. And that thing that needed to change first was I had to make peace with myself. And that might sound maybe a little simple, maybe a little glib, but I meant it to myself in the literal sense of the term. I make peace with myself. So I hauled out a piece of paper and I wrote myself a peace treaty. Now, this peace treaty is something that I've taught many of my students, and it is incredibly simple, but it's also profoundly transformative. So I sat down and I did this exercise, and then I would take it and read it to myself every day. And what I realized, the more that I did this, really to reaffirm this decision for peace inside of myself, was it helped to really set the stage and to recognize just how many ways I was at war with myself. Maybe you're experiencing that too. You feel at war with, like, your head wants one thing and your heart wants another thing, and there's this internal conflict around it. Maybe you feel like there's one part of you that's like really dug in to this side, and one that's really dug into the other side, like old habits that you can't seem to change, ideas about how things could be different, and they're just like butting heads, right? Dug in like trench warfare. Or that kind of feeling like, well, there's a part of you waiting until you feel overconfident, right? So that then that other part can sneak in and cut it down to size, right? Just warfare, basically, skirmishes, all kinds of stuff. And recognizing that pattern and reaffirming for peace every single day, right? It helped me to really see the stories that were going on inside of my head. Maybe some of yours are similar to mine. Maybe you have your own iterations of that. You're a unique human being, right? That'll play out maybe in some different ways for you. But that inner conflict is speaking to that the idea that there's not peace inside, and we have to decide for peace inside. So that's why I developed the peace treaty. Now, if you want to get the training on this, it's part of a larger course called A Course in Self-Love. It's a course that I teach on self-love, and the peace treaty is one of the very first things I have people do, because it's so powerful, and two, because it sets the stage for everything to come. You already know, like, you're not going to be at your best if you're constantly cutting yourself down. You're not going to feel confident. You're going to be stuck doubting yourself when that voice comes in and you give that voice a foothold, and then it starts to eat away and chip away at your confidence. It starts to clutter your mind with uncertainty, and it ruins your clarity. And so many other things, right? So think about that for a moment, like how powerful that can be. I'll pop a link below. All you have to do is click on it and go, and you can check that out. And I really encourage you to do it for yourself, because that sets the stage for all of the deeper layers of the things that we can transform in our relationships with ourselves, really into a loving and nurturing relationship, right? I'm talking here about the 5 foundations of self-love, which is something that I developed as a result of this work, right? It is about how to remake your relationship with yourself. And that peace treaty sets the stage, because you can't have a healthy sense of self-respect if you are constantly at war. Like, what is that about? It's really about disrespecting different parts of yourself, and going to battle with them to try and change them and prove them wrong, and all sorts of other things, right? So self-respect, number 1 foundation. Secondly is being able to care for yourself, obviously, because you're not going to be at your best when you're depleted, when there's needs inside of you that are really important that are being left unfulfilled or unacknowledged or just discounted altogether, right? Proper self-care is a lot more than just doing a few nice things for yourself every now and then. Proper self-care really speaks to the wholeness of your being and all the different aspects of you. That is the foundation of self-care. And then you've got self-acceptance, right? So important, because there are these parts about ourselves, things that we might see as flaws or imperfections, that we just don't want, right? So you reject it, right? You shove it into a corner. There's maybe shame and guilt around it. And that creates, it opens the door, or allows that inner conflict to continue. But really being able to accept every aspect of yourself and love yourself into a wholeness of being like that is incredibly powerful. And then you've got self-trust, of course, right? Self-trust, there's where you're able to step in and really have confidence in your decisions, in your clarity, confidence in your own inner voice, and really being able to go your own way in the world, right? There's no shortage of voices out there, right, that are trying to get into our own minds and hijack to get us to get on board, right? Buy the thing, do the thing, follow the herd, right? To go the way that everybody else is going, rather than going the way of what's truly right for you. And a lot of people do that just by forcing their way through, and then creating battle with the world, which ultimately ends up as conflict with yourself. But really and truly, when you develop an unshakable sense of self-trust, that changes everything, because you can step in what's right for you without getting caught into any of that other chatter. That's self-trust. And then the 5th foundation is, of course, self-actualization. That's about connecting with the potential inside of you and bringing that out into the world. Not just the vague idea that there's potential there, right? There is, but really bringing out your gifts, your talents in their fullness, for you to be able to express that out into the world, to share that with other people. You can build an awesome career around that. You can impact a lot of lives. And more than anything, it's just a lot more fun, right? So that's self-actualization. These 5 foundations and that peace treaty is the thing that really opens the door for all those things to start to flow for you, right? And then, of course, there's training for all of those things. But if you want to go ahead right now and get that peace treaty, it's a great place to start. I'll make sure and pop the link here. All you do is click on it, enter your information. It'll take you right to the page, and you can get started right away. It doesn't take very long. But when you make a commitment to yourself for peace, put it in writing and reaffirm that to yourself every day. Not an affirmation, right? But an affirming of that decision for peace. It's incredibly powerful. You will see the stories unwind, and you will see yourself step into a new level of confidence and certainty, and more than anything, just much more quietude in your mind without all that chatter and inner conflict. So my name's Nick. I'm the Mystic Next Door. I hope you'll grab that. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and we'll talk soon. Peace.